Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Oh wait, why is the music not playing? Give me a second, boys. Having some technical difficulties. What's up? What's up? What's up? Sorry, give me a second, man. I'm having some technical difficulties here. How are you doing today? Um, Okay, there we go. We should have music now, right? Should be working. Okay, here we go. All right, everything should be good now. Trying out Tasker right now. Seems decent. Yeah. I'm doing I got an exam here in a few hours, so I'm doing some last minute exam study and prep. Users will report that they have lost access to a network shared drive. They open a new help ticket and expect a quick resolution to the problem. What should a technician do next? Gather more information from users, reboot the servers, check and replace the cabling in the communications room, escalate the issue to the server team. They should gather more information from the users. A network administrator is troubleshooting poor wireless performance used for a building-to-building backhaul and suspects the WAP antenna needs to be replaced. Which antenna type should the administrator deploy to maximize gain? I believe that's supposed to be directional. Oh, parabolic dish. Oh yeah, that's right, parabolic dish. I always get that one wrong. An employee wants to install an AP, which stands for access point, at their desk. Which should they consult first? The MOU. Oh, acceptable use policy, never mind. I actually failed this exam the first time, so this is like a retake. I'm not feeling very confident, but I'm feeling more confident than I did the first time around, so. Which OSI layer relies on burnt-in hardware addresses? I believe that is data link? Yeah, okay. Which is considered an exterior routing protocol? That would be a BGP, which is a border gateway protocol. An office is configured with access points as shown in the exhibit. Office was originally configured with AP1 only, but the users farthest from the AP had problems connecting. There were also intermittent problems with bandwidth saturation. After installing AP2, users near the center of the office have trouble connecting in communication and are experiencing latency problems. Let's see, view exhibit. So access point, it looks like it's SS. They're using the same SSID. So let's see here, change AP2 to channel 6, move AP, both APs to the center of the room, change AP1 to channel 3. I actually don't think SSID is the problem, but I'm gonna go with that one. Yeah, we need to change that to channel 6. Okay. A technician configures an access point as shown in the exhibit. He creates a list of MAC addresses to allow on a network using MAC filtering. The technician realizes that despite this configuration, any device can still connect. What should the technician do? MAC filtering is turned off, so we're going to turn on MAC filtering. The company deploys a new wireless network. The company secures access using WPA to personal. What is required for a client to connect to an access point? I believe that's going to be a username and password or pre-shared key. Personal. Pre-shared key. Yeah. Hey, Rocky. A company expands its corporate campus and builds new facilities for its warehouse and additional offices. The The company needs to run a high bandwidth link between the buildings. The buildings are approximately 4 kilometers, about 2.5 miles away. What kind of cable should the company use? They should use single mode fiber. An organization plans a new 802.11 deployment. The organization wants to maximize performance by allowing simultaneous communication streams between clients and WAPs. What should the organization deploy? Mimo. Multi-user, multi-input, multi-output. Yeah. Oh boy. Okay. Match network devices with a role in 802.1x port-based authentication. Okay, so what we got here is an authenticator, a authentication server, authenticator, supplicant, and supplicant. Perfect. Okay. Killing it, killing it. Hey, what's up, Rocky? What's up, Pixel? How's everyone doing today? Appreciate you guys stopping by here, man. I'm like super heckin' nervous, man. I just need people to be around me right now. I got it, for some of y'all that don't know, I have an exam later today, and I am super nervous about it. Okay, a company needs a device to help centralize authentication, mitigate radio interference, provide load balancing, and improve bandwidth. That's going to be a load balancer. The company needs to evenly distribute traffic between web servers deployed on its perimeter network. I'm going to skip that one just for a second. The company needs to add a layer of protection between internal network hosts and external websites. I believe that one's radius. I'm gonna be honest with you, fam. I don't know. I don't know this one. Damn, I actually got all of that wrong. Okay. All right. Let's read what it says here. So, okay. So the first one was a wireless controller. A wireless controller can centralize authentication by forwarding requests to an authentication server. Okay. And then the load balancer was the second one, and then the proxy server. So the load balancer, a company needs to evenly distribute traffic between web servers. That should have been a key. Evenly distribute. That's exactly what a load balancer does. But I got confused because this here said load balancing up there. So, and then honestly, I did think about proxy server for number 3, but I just wasn't sure. So. The layer of protection between internal network hosts. Yeah, that makes sense. Protection. Proxy server means protection. Okay. Well, we failed on that one. A company expands its corporate campus. All new buildings are configured to support wireless LANs. The company wants to use WPA2 Enterprise to ensure wireless security and provide for centralized control to authenticate and authorization. What types of network devices is needed to provide centralized authentication and authorization? Radius server? Yeah, okay. The company needs to use a remote authentication dial-in user service radius server to support WPA2 Enterprise. In this configuration, the radius server is responsible for authenticating and authorization as well as related account activities. All right, good deal. A medium-sized company is moving into a new office space. The office is being pre-wired with Cat6 cabling. Employees will be moving their own equipment and will need to connect into the network. Technical services, which is what I'm training to be right now, wants to help ensure that the move goes as smoothly as possible. What should the technical service use to ensure this? Work instructions, logical network diagram, labeling, or physical network diagram? Labeling. An ISP has suffered several unscheduled outages every day for a week. What is the most likely result of this activity? This is actually something that I experienced like 2 summers ago. My ISP was like constantly down. But anyway, so in this case, they would be violating the SLA, which is a service license agreement. And inside of the service license agreement, they are required to basically keep their service up like a certain percentage of time. So it's like if they advertise, hey, our service is up 99.9% of the time, that is legally binding. They have to stick to that. And if not, they can pay fines, be sued, and all kinds of stuff. So PC1 fails to receive an IP address in the network shown in the exhibit. What should be configured to fix the problem? PC1, there's a router between PC1 and the DHCP server. So let's see here. There is a PC IP helper address on router 1. Yeah. For redundancy purposes, a network engineer installs a new router and enables a load balancing protocol. What type of address should he assign as a default gateway to end devices? A redundancy purpose, a network engineer installs a new router and enables load balancing protocol. Boys, I'm not even sure. We're just gonna go with IPv6. Okay, it's a virtual IP. So why is it a virtual IP? The network engineer should configure a virtual IP address of VIP, and users will use the VIP as their default gateway. A VIP is a virtual IP address that is shared between compatible network devices that are running a dedicated protocol. Has deployed a new router. Okay. Alright, so it should be a virtual IP. Which type of backup takes the least time and uses the least amount of disk space? I believe that's an incremental. Yeah. What is the primary benefit of using power distribution units, PDUs, in a data center? That is going to be a continuous power in the event of an outage. Whoa. Remote switching for equipment reboots. Oh, well, okay. Oh, I got confused. It's power distribution unit is different than a UPS. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Which protocol is an open vendor neutral standard protocol for accessing and maintaining directory services? Simple network? I don't know. LDAP. Lightweight. Oh, that's a me problem there. If I'd known that acronym, then that would have been easy to identify. Lightweight directory access protocol. A junior network engineer receives a new router to configure. Which 2 configuration tasks should the engineer perform before he copies a standard configuration template onto the router? They should change the default password and update the firmware. NS lookup command fails and shows the error in the exhibit. What should the support team create to fix the problem? Um, a CNAME? I'm just gonna go with CNAME. Reverse lookup zone. Okay, why is it reverse lookup zone? Support team should create a reverse lookup zone. Error indicates missing pointer. PTR record. PTR record resolves IP addresses to fully qualified domain names. Team should create a reverse lookup zone on a domain name system server and verify the PTR records. Okay. This is going really good, guys. Oh man. Help! A user complains about the transfer rates from a server in VLAN 4. A network administrator connects to a switch and receives the output shown in the exhibit. Which parameter is most likely misconfigured on the switch? Oh man. I think this one's flow control. Duplex. Did I miss something? Duplex. So right here is duplex. The mode is full duplex. FDX stands for full duplex. So I don't know why that is. So let's read. The duplex setting should be verified. The exhibit shows an output from a switch representing port status. There's only one active port in VLAN 4 port 5. VLAN 4 port 5. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't understand that one. Some of these things, like you know, when you're like learning something, it just like clicks real hard and you get like light bulb and you just like fully understand it. Some of these I don't. But we know that the answer for that one later on is duplex. If we see that, we know it's duplex. Hey, Chicken Man. Yep. A network technician wants to deploy a new virtual firewall. The firewall has to support 3 interfaces: Geo, O1, and O2. What should the technician configure at the VM level for these interfaces? They should configure the virtual network interface card. A network administrator must capture all north-south packets at line rating for long-term storage and analysis. Traffic flows should not be impeded or interrupted. North-south means it's inside the server room, so they should deploy a I think it's an L2 switch. Could be wrong. Yeah, port mirror. Never mind. Why is it a port mirror then? The administrator should configure a port mirror. Port mirroring is feature offered by high-end network switches, firewalls, and other devices that copies all traffic from source port to destination port. That can be useful for traffic analysis, troubleshooting, and intrusion detection. Port mirrors do not impede or interrupt traffic. Okay, so it's a port mirror. Users report that they cannot access any resources on the internet using an FTP client. It is determined that the connections have been denied by the firewall. All hosts from the local subnet 192.168.1.0 CIDR 25 should have access. Which access control list rule should the company implement? This one always kills me, man. They should do an inbound rule permit host here from ports 22 and 23. Yeah. Okay. All right. This one is just going to be like a memorization thing for me. So it's outbound. Outbound on ports 20 and 21. A network engineer must ensure internet-based SMTP servers can locate their organizational SMTP servers. Which record should the engineer create on a public DNS server? That should be MX, Mail Exchange. SMTP is a mail server, so they need a mail exchanger. A network admin has captured the following messages on the firewall. Which application has generated this traffic? I believe that is a VoIP. Nope. Okay. Man, I'm gonna fail this exam again. Sucks balls, dude. It sucks balls. An organization deploys Internet of Things sensors at a remote location that is not reachable using traditional cable internet services. Which technology should the organization deploy to provide the highest bandwidth available for this location? They should deploy satellite. Never mind, they should deploy 5G apparently. It said highest bandwidth, but I guess 5G is higher bandwidth than satellite? A network engineer has installed 3 gigabit switches. The switches will provide access to NAS devices for end users. What should the engineer configure to avoid bottleneck in a network with big file transfers? Yeah, I got no clue. I'm gonna go with trunk report aggregation. Oh wow, that one was correct for some reason. Okay. Killing it. A small company subscribes to a popular productivity application suite. All employees access the application through a web browser interface. Employees store their data locally on their own computers. Which cloud delivery model does this describe? This is a hybrid. Well, fuck me. Apparently it's public. Why is it public? This is an example of a public cloud. Multiple users and organizations have access to applications or other services through a subscription. It's essentially a shared software model. Okay. A technician has established a plan of action to resolve a problem on a network switch. The solution has been tested in a lab environment, and the technician has a list of commands to execute. After logging into the device, the technician realizes that the TACAX server blocks the commands they have to implement. What should the technician do? They should assign the task to another person or department. They don't have the access, so they gotta escalate. Support team has been tasked with creating an alias name for a newly deployed server. What should the team do? They should do DNS and CNAME record. In a 2-tier data center network, servers are connected to which type of switch? I believe that is a leaf. A company deploys 6 new computers that are configured for automatic address assignment to the 192.168.4.0/CIDR26 subnet. The DHCP server that closed the scope for the subnet is deployed on the same subnet. 4 of the new computers are able to lease valid IP addresses. The remaining 2 computers have the following addresses. What is most likely wrong I'm going to say the DHCP scope is exhausted. Yep. There's not enough IPs to be issued. Oh, you gotta take this one serious, James. I wish we could, man, but this is big, man. I gotta do it. Match the statement with the appropriate switch port protection. Okay, this protection enforces the placement of root bridges in the network to provide a constant network environment. I believe that's going to be a root guard. This protection helps ensure a predictable active network topology by denying ports that should not participate in STP from receiving TCNs. With that one, this protection monitors traffic and packet types and reacts to flood. I think that's going to be flood control, or flood guard, I mean. Perfect. Which is used with the multi-mode fiber. That is going to be frick, man. It's either, I think it's SFP. Small form factor pluggable. Following a disaster, a network admin is attempting to prioritize system restores. What should the admin do? They should check the RTO. Recovery time objective. When a system goes down, there's an RTO, which is the recovery time objective, and that kind of determines like the amount of time that's allowed to get the system back up and running before you start violating like an SLA. A company is installing a large rack-mounted infrastructure to support a web server farm. High availability is a critical concern for the company. You need to recommend a solution that will ensure continued availability without interruption if an AC line power is lost. Okay, a UPS is my recommendation. Uninterruptible power supply. A network admin has been tasked with deploying a new wireless LAN controller. Which protocol is recommended for integrity checking and encryption? That's going to be SHA. No, that's going to be AES based with CCNP. A company has deployed a new access point. A network admin wants to proactively monitor the number of connected clients and available resources using a secure protocol. What layer 7 network protocol should be used? Simple network. Simple network management protocol. A network technician has confirmed that faulty DNS records are causing connection timeouts. Which step of the troubleshooting methodology should the technician take next? Confirm. They should. So they have confirmed the faulty DNS. So now they should establish an action plan. Thank you, James. A network admin must configure a wireless controller to allow authentication for devices that do not support EAP. Once configured, client authentication must be automatic. However, unauthorized users should not be able to access network resources. Which of the following actions should the administrator take? require clients to use certificates to authenticate? No, the answer was to enable pre-shared key authentication on the controller. Okay. What is the first step when troubleshooting a network problem? When troubleshooting a network problem, they should identify the problem and then establish a theory. A branch office has been allocated a subnet of 192.168.1.64 CIDR 26, which 3 IP addresses can be used for user devices at this location. We're going to have to select 3. So for those 3, we're going to go with 192.168.1.65, 192.168.1.11, and 192.168.1.98. Users who work in remote branches report performance issues when trying to access applications hosted in the corporate data center. A network engineer has been asked to evaluate reports and recommend an application-aware solution that will include latency, packet loss, jitter, when computing optimal data paths. Which technology should the engineer recommend? That would be... To me, that sounds like infrastructure. No, software-defined wide area network. Okay. The network support team needs to determine whether data is being encrypted when it is sent over the network. Which process should the team use? Packet analysis. Company opens new warehouse space on its company campus. Network wiring for the warehouse is routed through a 110 punch block and patch panel. Wiring out to the devices uses Cat5e UTP cable. Several devices in the warehouse experience communication problems. After extensive testing, the problem is determined to be crosstalk. Company needs to correct the problem. Infrastructure changes should be kept to a minimum. What should the company do? They're going to upgrade their Cat5e to it's not saying interference, it's saying crosstalk. If it was interference, we would go with Cat5e STP, which stands for shielded twisted pair, which alleviates interference. But in this case, we're going to go with Cat6 cable. Cat6 cable is just better. An organization plans to contract with a cloud service provider for a disaster recovery site that will host a backup critical system hardware when the primary data center fails. Data will be restored and the secondary site will be active. Cost must be minimized. Which type of disaster recovery site should the organization deploy? I believe this is a warm site. A hot site is immediately active. We have no time to lose. Get us up and running right now. And if we're going to try to be a cost saving, we can fall back to a warm site. Let me just make sure I understand this question. Yeah, I'm going to go with warm side. I'm not confident, but maybe. Yeah, okay, it is warm side. Which of the following is used to create a multi-point tunnel by encapsulating layer 2 traffic for transmission over layer 3 underlay network? An SVI? VXLAN again. Okay. In-house technicians plan to emulate a penetration attempt. They want to see if they can learn what services are running on network servers. What should they use? In-house technicians plan to emulate a penetration attempt. They want to see if they can learn what services are running on network servers. I want to go with either port scanning or packet analysis, but I'm not sure. I'm really not sure here. I'm going to go with packet analysis because I feel like with packet analysis, hold on, penetration attempt to learn what services are running on network servers. Okay, I'm just going to go with it. Oh, I was port scanning, bro. Oh my gosh. So close. A company recently implemented a bring your own device, a BYOD policy, and is adding security controls over personal devices. The company wants to ensure that some managed apps and most company data will be unavailable when a device leaves the corporate campus. What should the company use to implement this? They should use geofencing. Once you pass the geofence, all services are shut down. It's kind of like a virtual fence. A technician needs to execute command line management commands on a Linux server located in a remote office. The technician should be required to log on at the server. All communications should be encrypted. They're going to use SSH. Secure shell. A network admin is configuring SNMP, Simple Network Management Protocol, and needs to specify an element in an MIB hierarchy for monitoring. What should the administrator enter? Oh my gosh. Well, I think it's 172. Ah, no, it's the other one. Okay, I just got to remember. I don't understand. This is one of the ones like I won't remember the understanding of why, but if I can remember it's not an IP, it's this thing here, then I could probably nail that one just off memorization. Users complain that as they walk from one location to another in an office complex, they lose wireless connectivity. What should a network admin do to troubleshoot this issue? Architect overlapping wireless cells, configure unique SSIDs for wireless access point, ensure low signal to noise ratio. They should increase that transmission power, shouldn't they? No. Oh, okay. I guess they should not do that. Architect overlapping wireless cells. The network admin should architect overlapping. Oh, this is a wording one. That's why I got this one wrong, man. Yeah, this one is a wording thing. They're tricky with their wording sometimes. Basically, they want to make sure the wireless access points transmission radius overlaps. Headquarters requests a new IP subnet. The solution must meet the following requirements. There should be an IPv4 Class A address type, private IP addresses, at least 15 usable IP addresses within the range. Oh man, I don't, bruh. I don't even know this one at all. Let's just YOLO that. Okay. All right, there we go. Well, I feel like that was probably at least like a 50%. 64%. Okay. Not as bad as I thought. The problem is we need an 80 to pass. Okay, well, let's get back in there. I've passed it once so far in Measure Up. I have passed it one time with an 80, so I am getting better. I was getting 50s. It's what they call the 50 curse. 75. All objectives. You think this is impressive, James? Aw, man. Which of following is an example of valid multi-factor authentication factors? I would actually be interested to see some of you guys try to answer these questions, to be honest with you. So which of the following is an example of valid multi-factor authentication factors? I'm going to go with facial recognition and PIN. One of a company's office areas is shown in the exhibit. The shaded area shows where devices can get reliable connection with the access point. Devices on the unshaded area are either unable to connect to the AP or have weak connection. The company plans to deploy a wireless range extender. The possible locations A, B, C, and D are shown in the answer area. Where should the company deploy the wireless range extender? Right here, homie. A company routes Cat5e UTP cabling through a part of its manufacturing floor that generates a great deal of electromagnetic interference, EMI. The cables are routed loosely through the ceiling about 3 meters above the equipment. Computers connected to the cabling experience communications area anytime the equipment is running. The company needs a reliable, cost-effective solution. Management will not authorize converting to fiber optic cabling because they are businessmen and they are cheap. So, what we want to do is replace the Cat5e UTP cable with Cat5e shielded twisted pair. The whole interference thing I was talking about earlier. A company deploys a new wireless network. The company secures access using WPA to personal. What is required for a client to connect to an access point? We had this one before, and it was pre-shared key, right? Yeah, there you go. So that's like you at home when you guys connect to your Wi-Fi router, right? You need like a password to put in on your your iPad or whatever, so it connects to the Wi-Fi. That's what that pre-shared key is. A large organization has offices in several locations around the world. Which geographic location has primary responsibility for its network administration and management? The company wants to ensure consistent instructions and management throughout the company. What should the company use to help ensure this? Acceptable use policy? Oh no, it was standard operating procedures. Wait, I thought I selected that on the last run through and it was wrong. Oh well, okay. A consultant is helping set up an office in a remote rural area. The office needs a high bandwidth, wide area network link with the main office, which is located several hundred miles away. Okay, for this one, I believe they will use satellite. Yeah. A network engineer is concerned about the security of a sensitive east to west traffic flows. Which is the best option for addressing this concern? So east to west means data center to data center. North to south means inside of a single data center. So they're going to place a firewall at the public-private network perimeter. Place firewalls between data center, right here, between data center network segments. To enhance performance and security, an organization defines VLANs on L2 switches. Switches will not host the same VLANs, but traffic for all VLANs must flow between switches. Which solution best meets the requirement? Create an interface for each VLAN on all switches. Connect switches together on access ports. Configure tagging on switch interconnects. Yeah, this is just one of the ones I have no clue. Configure tagging on switch interconnects. Okay, I think I remember this one for some reason. Tagging should be configured on switch interconnects. A virtual local area network allows devices to be grouped logically, this means digitally, with other nodes in scenarios where multiple VLANs are used. So you want to basically just tag all your logical connections or devices. Okay. For redundancy purposes, a network engineer installs a new router and enables a load balancing protocol. What type of address should he assign as a default gateway to end devices? Loopback? Virtual IP. Crap. I do that every time. Every time I take this stupid quiz, I select loopback, and then I'm like, oh, it was a virtual IP. I do that every time, man. A company is developing several web apps. The company does not have the hardware resources to support the development and does not want... okay. For this, I believe it's infrastructure as a service? No. Platform as a service. Okay, so platform as a service means for development. A small company subscribes to a popular productivity application suite. All employees access the application through a web browser interface. Employees store their data locally on their own computers. Which cloud delivery model does this describe? Wasn't this one public? Yeah, okay, that one's public. A network admin needs to ensure the network availability by sending status diagnostics and event information from network nodes to a centralized server. Which technology should the admin use? I believe this is syslog? Yeah. A syslog is like a log that combines all other logs into one. A network admin must capture all north-south packets at line rate for long-term storage and analysis. Traffic flows should not be impeded or interrupted. Okay, I think I remember this one from our last pass, which was a mirror or port mirror. The user complains they are unable to connect to the corporate network. A network admin has verified other users are able to browse network resources without issues. The admin runs ipconfig on the user's workstation, which returns the following result. Okay, so they've not been assigned a default gateway. So I think that means that they need to verify that the DHCP scope is not exhausted. It's either verify the DHCP or they could... Yeah, okay, I think we're just going to go with exhausted. Yeah. Basically, that means that the DHCP server has ran out of IPs within a certain range that it can issue to the host. Which protocol is an open vendor neutral standard protocol for accessing and maintaining directory services? Simple network management protocol? No, it was LDAP. Dude, I remember. Oh yeah. I remember that one from last time too. This is a me problem because I have a hard time remembering the acronyms, but as long as I can connect the word directory to LDAP, then I'll remember this one for sure. Because the question says maintain directory services, LDAP does directory things. Users report that they have lost access to a neutral shared or to a network shared drive. They open a new help ticket and expect a quick resolution to the problem. What should a technician do next? They're gonna have to get some more information from the users. The company wants to implement an authentication authorization solution for network devices that also directly supports device management. What should the company use? I believe this is either Radius or TACAX. or Kerberos. Oh shoot, man. Oh shoot. Which one is it, James? Help. A company wants to implement an authentication and authorization solution for network devices that also directly support device management. I'm gonna go with Radius. I feel like that's wrong. Oh, it was TACAX. Terminal Access Controller Access Control System Plus. That is a... How am I supposed to remember that crazy acronym, man? Terminal Access Controller Access Control System Plus. It's a proprietary set of protocols that supports AAA. Let's just say AAA. Authentication, authorization, and accounting. Okay, so I have to remember that TACAX is AAA. Users report that messages about duplicate IP addresses keep displaying on their computer. That's a rogue DHCP server. The server has went crazy. Which device should a company use to configure a new area within OSPF? Oh shit. This is one of those where I don't remember the acronym, so... I don't think it's an IPS because that's intrusion detection system. I don't think it's IDS because that's intrusion detection system. L2 switch? Nah, it was a router. I had a 50% chance of getting that one right. Okay, this one's easy because we remember the IPs. It's 111, 65, 98. Which of the following best describes the primary use case for infrastructure as a code? Infrastructure as a code. Automated provisioning. A company has its own comms room and an on-premises data center containing all of its servers and network devices. The network engineer wants to add some cloud on-demand solutions to the existing infrastructure. Which cloud model should the company use? I believe that should be a hybrid. I'll be right back real quick. I gotta use the bathroom, man. My eyes are floating. Oh boy, okay, that feels better. At what point in troubleshooting methodology is it appropriate to escalate the problem? Okay, so if the technician is unable to confirm the theory, and if no appropriate solution is available, the company must implement additional monitoring and analysis to meet compliance requirements related to work done for new customers. The company needs a solution that can collect log, event, and other security information from a variety of sources and correlate and analyze the data to identify threats. It should provide for a long-term storage of data collected and be able to identify trending threats. Okay, this one I don't believe is server log. I believe this one is actually a SIEM system. Yeah. A network tech wants to deploy a new virtual firewall. The firewall has to support. Yeah, okay, we know this one. This is a VNIC. The company collects network traffic data from multiple subnets. Detailed analysis indicate that packets are being dropped by one of the routers. Technicians suspect this is due to a misconfigured firewall access control list. Where should technicians look for more detailed information? Event logs? Firewall logs. I'm a dumbass. It said firewall. Or, router. Which would be firewall. A company deploys a server on its perimeter network. The server will be used to transfer files. Specific requirements include user authentication with user ID and password. All communication between server and client is encrypted. Get to a minimum. I believe this one is going to be SFTP, Secure File Transfer Protocol. A company's WLAN is configured with one access point. I believe this one. Okay, so base hacking into AP2 and changing configuration settings. So this one, all they have to do is change the default password. Network engineer must ensure communications between an organization's branch office and main HQ cannot be eavesdropped on. What should the engineer do? Site to site. Site to site VPN. Yeah. Virtual site to site virtual private network. A network admin wants to ensure duplex mismatches are identified quickly. Which statistic should the admin monitor? I believe that's latency. Oh, CRC errors. Cyclic redundancy check. Which mechanism monitors and manages virtual machine instances? That's going to be the hypervisor. A network admin connects finance and marketing PCs to the same L2 switch. The administrator must ensure that marketing PCs do not communicate with finance PCs. What's the best solution the admin should deploy? I think that's a screened subnet. Define data VLANs. Okay, that one is the first time I'm seeing that one, so let's see why. The admin should define data VLANs. A VLAN allows devices to be grouped logically with other nodes across multiple networks. Okay. Consultant is helping a company design a wireless LAN implementation. A network requirement include internal access points for network hosts, connections, and external wireless connections between buildings. The consultant needs to help the company choose appropriate antennas. What does the DBI rating of an antenna represent? A higher DPI antenna has more gain and wider field pattern than lower DPI antenna. I believe it's actually more gain, but and narrower field pattern. Yeah. The tech has configured a new SSD ID on an AP using the 5 GHz frequency. He has connected to it with a mobile phone. A test laptop is unable to show the new SSID in the list of available networks. What would be the most likely reason for that? The laptop is a single band, or the laptop has a single band wireless card. It cannot support 5 GHz, only the 2.4. What are two main differences between a hub and a switch? Select two. Hubs work on layer 1 while switches work on layer 2. And I believe hubs do not understand MAC addresses, while switches contain a CAM address table. So think of this: hubs are dumb, switches are smart. Basically, in a network, a hub just shotgun blasts the network data across all devices, where a switch is smart and can actually figure out where that data, which device the data specifically needs to go to. Switches are smart. Following updates to A records, a client is no longer able to connect to a web server. What should be done? They should run the ipconfig flush DNS on the client. Which routing protocol requires each node to build a complete network map? Oh, this one I have no clue. Okay, why is it open shortest path first? Requires each node to build a complete network map. Oh, well, I guess that explains it. OSPF requires it specifically. Yeah, OSPF is considered a link state routing protocol, and routers share link state data with neighboring routers. Open shortest path first. Okay. A network tech troubleshooting connectivity to a server. The technician needs to determine if a connection from a client is active, as well as the port being used for connection. Which tool should the technician use? Traceroute? Netstat. Why is it Netstat? Without wait. without parameters. This tool displays information about active connections on a node. Okay, so netstat just gives you all the information. Okay. I think that's the ACP scope is exhausted. What is the role of an MIB with implementing simple network protocol for network management? It's a, I believe it is a collection of manageable devices. Network Tech receives a report that includes the following output. I believe that's a NS lookup. No, it's a dig. What the heck is dig? Domain information dropper? Okay. Utility generated the prime output that can be used to issue queries to domain name systems. Yeah, I have no clue on that one then. Which of the following is limitation of a virtual switch technology? Virtual switch technology relies on the host. I believe. Which is the best option for increasing the availability of a network's gateway router group? FHRP? First hop redundancy protocol. Let's go. What is the primary benefit of using power distribution units in a data center? Remote switching for equipment reboots? A network admin must configure a wireless controller to allow authentication for devices that do not support AP. Once configured, client authentication must be automatic. However, the unauthorized user should not be able to access network resources. I can't remember this one. Oh, pre-shared key. Which type of vulnerability would not be reported by a vulnerability scan? 0 day. 0 days are unknown until they are exploited. Which type of backup takes the least time and uses the least amount of disk space? Incremental. The company is changing its network design as shown in the exhibit.
Some time now, just to see you again, and I
Company is changing its network design as shown in the exhibit. The company plans to deploy a web server and a honeypot in the DMZ. Which two documents does the company need to update? That would be physical network diagram and logical. The NS lookup command fails and shows the error in the exhibit. What should the support team create to fix the problem? This one is the reverse lookup zone. A company has a dynamic host configuration protocol DHCP server with all the subnet addresses specified as an IP address scope. The company deploys a new physical server as a database server in the 192.168.4.0/24 CIDR subnet. Applications that use the database server require the server to always have the same IP address. The company policy forbids the use of a static addressing. What should the company do to set the addressing for the database server? Configure a reservation. The NIDS report several attempts to download files from an external IP address. The technical services department determines that the source is a website that is made to look like a site from which network users download reference materials in blank PDF forms. Users enter the correct URL for the website but are being sent to a different IP address. This is DNS poisoning. An employee wants to install an access point at their desk. Which should they consult first? The MOU, I believe. Oh no, that one's the acceptable use policy. Wait, are they trying to install an access point that they have purchased and are trying to bring it on their own? Yeah, it's a personal AP. That's what they were trying to do, so that's why they used the AUP instead. The company needs to support a secure link for remote users to a web-aware application that is deployed on a server in its perimeter network. Tech Services Department recommends using an SSL VPN to minimize the configuration changes needed in network firewalls. The solution will use certificate-based authentication. What is the minimum certificate requirement for this configuration? That's a server-side certificate only. An attacker posing as janitor manages to access a storage cabinet where sensitive printed documents are kept. Which physical preventative control should the organization implement to address this risk? Locking cabinets. The company is deploying a new computer shown in the exhibit. The company will have a static IPv4 address. What should technicians use as the computer's default gateway? 1.1. Wait, hold on. Let me read the explanation just to make sure I understand it. The default gateway should be set to 1.1. The default gateway is the path traffic takes when being routed from one subnet into another subnet. Should be the address of the router interface facing the subnet. So this is the only appropriate value. Okay. The company needs to have a reliable record of everyone who enters or leaves a locked, secure area of the building. What should the company use? Video surveillance? A router must forward a packet to a subnet for which it does not have a route. Which route will the router most likely utilize? I believe that would be the default route. A network tech has been asked to create a DNS record so that users can browse the company's main website, www.example.com. Users must be able to use example.com to get to the website. The website is hosted using a single IP address. What should the tech do to complete the assignment? I believe they should create an A record for example.com that points to www.example.com and a C name record that points www.example.com to the website's IP address. Oh, did I have that? Did I say that one backwards? That points www to the website's IP address and a C name record, for example. Okay. Yeah, I had that one backwards. Oops. Which is considered an exterior routing protocol? That would be BGP. Network admin has captured the following messages on the firewall. Which application has generated that traffic? That one's web browser. Which command line interface command should a system admin use to verify the hardware address of the device connected to the local area network? That would be ARP. A network tech discovers a router being managed on port 23. What should the technician do first? Enable the firewall. Configure SSH. Technician should configure secure shell. In this scenario, a router is being managed on port 23, which is the standard port for Telnet. Telnet is bad. Telnet does not support transport encryption and allows passwords to easily be captured. SSH should be configured. Okay. Okay, so port 23 is Telnet. Telnet is bad. We should enable secure shell. Which layer of the OSI model do routers operate at? Network. The OSI model. Physical, data link, network, transport, session, presentation, application. That's the 7 layers to the OSI model. A recent security audit reveals that, by the way, if you want to remember the OSI layer or the OSI model, please do not throw sausage pizza away. Physical, data link, network, transport, session, presentation, application. A recent security audit reveals that users from all locations have full remote access to network devices. Which solution should be implemented to address this problem? Access control list. Give me a second.
Don't stop the rave. Don't stop the party. Don't stop the rave. Can't feel my body. But don't stop the rave. Don't stop the party. Don't stop the rave. Can't feel my body. But don't stop the rave.
A company runs call center services with 25 agents. Agents report that their soft phones have random quality issues. Which performance parameters should be verified in the network?
Now everybody from the front to the back, go.
Oh, freak, I don't know this one, man.
Now everybody from the front to the back,
Minimum bandwidth of 50 megabits per second. Oh, maximum of 150 milliseconds of delay. The company should verify the delay parameter. The recommended design recommendations for VoIP, voice over IP, are no more than 150 milliseconds one-way end-to-end delay, no more than 1% of packet loss, no more than 30 milliseconds of jitter.
but don't stop the rave.
Okay, cool. An organization plans to deploy wireless access points in all offices. Due to cost constraints, some mounting locations will only be reachable using Cat6a cabling. Which of the following should the organization also plan to deploy to ensure that WAPs function properly? PoE pluses, power over Ethernet plus. A company is wiring a new office space to support 1000 base T Ethernet. The network design calls for UTP cable. The majority of the cable will be routed through a suspended ceiling. So for that, they should use Cat5e plenum. Plenum is used in suspended ceilings. It is another thing about plenum cable is the plastic coating on the outside. The plastic casing is less toxic, so in a fire it's less hazardous when it burns. That's why we use them in ceilings. An organization upgrades the network cabling in some of its buildings from copper to fiber optic. However, a network admin is concerned that some of the cabling may be faulty. What should the admin monitor first to determine if there is to determine if their concern is valid? For this one, I believe. I believe this one is CRC error, cyclic redundancy. A client is configured with an IP address 192.168.1.2/16, which address client used for subnet broadcasts. I believe that's 168.255.255. A malware attack encrypts data on a critical network server. A dialog box displayed on the server display screen with instructions about how to pay for a recovery code to decrypt the server data. Which type of attack does this scenario describe? That is ransomware. They encrypt your data and demand payment to unencrypt your data. It's ransomware. A policy includes the following statement. Employees are not allowed to use company equipment to copy or distribute copyright material without the written permission of the holder of the copyright. Which policy would this statement be part of? A. in AUP. Headquarters requests a new IP subnet. The solution must meet the following requirements: IPv4 Class A, private IP, at least 15 usable IP addresses within the range. Oh shit. I don't know. 10, 10, 10, 128, 27. Okay. A technician plans to install Cat7 cable. Wow, we're getting crazy now. To support 10 gigabit per second application. What is the maximum supported cable length for this application? 100 meters. PC1 is unable to access the internet in the network shown in the exhibit. What is the most likely cause? PC1. What's it not able to access? Unable to access the internet. I think this is a rogue DHCP server. Yeah. A network admin is configuring NAT to facilitate connectivity between a LAN and the internet. The admin has decided to use RFC 1918 compatible addressing, which range should the administrator configure? Frick, man, I have no clue. The admin should configure that range. Request for comments specifies 3 address ranges for internal use. All 3 ranges have been reserved for use exclusively on internets. Okay, so okay. All right, let's see how we did this time around. I feel like that was a little better. Come on. I don't know if it was a pass or not, but it was pretty close. Yeah, damn it, we failed it. Got a 73. Frick, man. Oh, this shit sucks. Hold on, I'll be right back. Well, I think I can run through one more time. So let's get back in there. I'm so done, man. I'm gonna fail this exam again. It's a tough test. Like even the instructor and his two assistant instructors have all, like the actual instructor said he even failed this one twice. It's a tough exam. Which statement best describes a warm backup recovery site? The site has necessary facilities and infrastructure to support business operations, but not computer network hardware. The site has computer equipment network hardware and data communication installed on the computer, but does not have recent backups of corporate data. Has computer equipment network installed data. It does not have recent backups. It's everything that a hot site is, except it doesn't have the data backed up already. Realistically, they will have some data, but it would be like old data. Which two attack types are examples of social engineering attacks? Phishing and tailgating. The company recently implemented a bring your own device policy and is adding security controls over personal devices. The company wants to ensure that some managed apps and most company data will be unavailable. That's geofencing. A network admin implements a change on a switch to fix a network issue. According to the troubleshooting methodology, what should the network admin do now? They should document all the findings in the final report. Wait, what? They've implemented the change. Is that one wrong? They implemented the change already. Hell. Users report that they cannot access any resources on the internet using an FTP client. It is determined that the connections have been denied by the firewall. Yeah, fuck that question. In two-tier data center network, servers are connected to which type of switch? A leaf switch. What are two main differences between a hub and a switch? Layer 1, layer 2. I believe that's AC with wave 2. Actually, is it wave 1 and wave 2? No, it was AC with wave 2 and then AT. SFP. An alert indicates the loss of connectivity with the router. The log shows the following line. BGP sending 19 bytes. I believe that's BGP. Could be wrong. Well, it was BGP. Limitation of a V-switch technology. Network traffic cannot flow between switches on the same host. Which technology will an organization most likely deploy to manage industrial machinery? That would be a SCADA system. Client is configured with an IP address. Oh, fuck. I hate these IP questions, man. Oh, got it. Which statement describes the primary benefit provided multi-factor authentication? Mitigation phishing attacks. The consultant is helping company design a wireless LAN implementation. Network requirement includes internal access points for network host connections and external wireless connections. Consultant needs to help the company choose appropriate antennas. More gain, narrow field pattern. Network admin wants to ensure duplex mismatches are identified quickly. Which statistic should the administrator monitor? CRC errors. Technician plans to install Cat7 cable to support 10 gigabit per second application. What is the maximum supported cable length? That's going to be 100 meters. A router must forward a packet to a subnet for which it does not have a route. The router is going to use the default route. PC1 is unable to access the network in the network shown in the exhibit. What is most likely cause? Rogue DHCP server. A system admin cannot ping a file server running Windows Server. Users can access files on the server without any problems. What? Wait, a systems admin cannot ping a file server running Windows Server. Users can access files on the server without any problems. Should the admin check? NTFS permissions? Oh, firewall rules. His firewall's not allowing connection to the Windows server, I guess. I don't know. Company's wireless LAN is configured with 3 access points configured as follow. Users move to a cubicle in a different part of the office building. The user is prompted for a passphrase when attempting to connect to any wireless device to the network. Why is this happening? They're all using WPA2 pre-shared key. Channel 1, 6, and 11. They all have the same SSIDs. User can... they have the wrong passphrase. A company deploys new wireless network. The company secures access using WPA2 personal. What is required for a client to connect to an access point? That's going to be a pre-shared key. Organization plans to deploy WAPs in all its offices due to cost constraints. Some mounting locations will only be reachable using Cat6a cabling. Which of the following should the organization plan to deploy to ensure the WAPs function properly? PoE+. company is installing a large rack-mounted infrastructure to support a web server farm. High availability is a critical concern for the company. We need to recommend a solution that will ensure continued availability with interruption if AC line power is lost. Uninterruptible power supply. An attacker steals backup tapes from a data center, which is the best option for detecting such physical breaches. Cameras. Which type of vulnerability would not be reported by a vulnerability scan? 0 day. 0 days are not detected until they are exploited. The network administrator connects all top of rack switches using mesh architecture. Which of the following is required for error-free operation in this environment? That. VLANs? Oh, spanning. Oh, fuck yeah, that's right. Spanning tree protocol. Which type of cable uses an 8 to 10 micron core? That's going to be single mode fiber. A technician attempts to install a device that requires power over Ethernet. Oh, okay. I'll try to explain something about this. So, single mode fiber uses an 8 to 10 micron core, which is a smaller core than multi-mode fiber. Single mode fiber is meant for long distances, miles and miles and miles. So with the lower micron core, it allows the light band to stay narrow and travel further distances. A technician attempts to install a device that requires power over Ethernet. However, the device will not power on. The technician has verified that the device is functional and suspects that the upstream switch has not provided enough power. The device requires a port that supports a maximum power of 100 watts. What should the technician do to ensure that the device functions properly while optimizing power usage? Verify that the switch supports Type 4 PoE++. An email server responds to a client's LOS shown below. They should enable encryption on port 587 because here it says it's using plain authorization. Which device would be used to distribute users' requests across all servers in a farm? Load balancer? A network consultant determines that a company can improve its performance by implementing jumbo frames. The network is configured with 10, 100, and 1000 switches. Of all hosts are configured with gigabit Ethernet network adapters. The network is wired with Cat5e UTP cable. What must a company do to support jumbo frames? Jumbo frames require an MCU of 9000. A user reports odd behavior when attempting to access network resources from their Windows laptop. While reviewing the laptop's configuration and network tech discovers that the host file has been modified. Which type of attack has a security admin likely uncovered? DNS poisoning. A technician has established a plan of action to resolve a problem on a network switch. The solution has been tested in a lab environment, and the tech has a list of commands to execute. After logging into the device, the tech realizes that the TACAC server blocks the commands they have implemented. What should the tech do? Assign the task to another person or department. A user complains they are unable to connect to a corporate network. A network administrator has verified other users are able to browse network resources without issues. The admin runs ipconfig on the user's workstation which returns the following. They should verify that the DHCP scope is not exhausted because they haven't been given a default gateway. Match each statement with the appropriate switch port protection. Oh gosh, let's see here. Card and EPDU. The company's e-commerce platform frequently crashes due to heavy traffic loads, which is the best option for improving site availability for end users. They should deploy a web server farm. Which OSI layer uses segments as its PDU? Network? Ah, it was transport. The branch office has been allocated a subnet or blah blah blah. Which 3 IP addresses that we already know this one. 119865. I have no clue on this one. They want to set up the following subnets. Network A needs to be able to support 600 hosts. I'm not really sure, man. Cider 26. Oh, okay, so Cider 26 supports. Okay. A company expands its corporate campus. All new buildings are configured to support wireless LANs. The company wants to use WPA2 Enterprise to ensure wireless security and provide for centralized control of authentication and authorization. What type of network device is needed to provide centralized authentication and authorization? Wireless LAN controller? Radio server. Which statement describes traffic shaping? I believe this one is actually traffic. Excess traffic is immediately dropped. Oh. Yeah, well, I still thought that one was excess traffic was dropped. But I guess we're buffering the traffic until bandwidth is available. Alright. Which routing protocol requires each node to build a complete network map? Wasn't that one OS? Yeah. Yeah, open shortest path first. A network tech is concerned about the risk of telegating in their environment. What should the technician do to mitigate this risk? Access Control Vestibule. Network admin is configuring simple network management protocol and needs to specify an element in an MIB hierarchy for monitoring. What should the admin use? This crazy looking number. A network engineer is concerned about security of a sensitive east to west traffic flows, which is the best. They need to place firewalls between data center network segments. A network tech has been asked to create a DNS record so that users can browse to the company's main website. Oh, okay, this one, I remember this one. They need to do create an A record for the www.example to the website's IP address, and then a CNAME record for example.com that points to I have a hard time remembering. Oh, I actually got it. Sweet. Hey, we're getting there. We're going to ping the server. An organization upgrades the network cabling in some of its buildings from copper to fiber optic. However, network concerns some of the cabling may be faulty. What should the admin monitor first to determine if their concern is valid? Increased number in CRC errors. A network admin must configure a wireless controller to allow authentication for devices that do not support AP. Once configured, client authentication must be automatic. However, unauthorized users should not be able to access network resources. Oh. L21X with radius? Enable PS key authentication on the controller. Following updates to A records, the client is no longer able to connect to a web server. What should be done first? ipconfig flush DNS. What is the first step when troubleshooting a network problem? Identify the problem. Users connect to a network using wireless laptops and report intermittent access issues with the NAS server. The access point and the NAS server are connected to a switch using a 100 megabits per second link. The status of the access point is shown in the exhibit. What should the support team do to fix the connectivity? They should install more access points. A restaurant offers a public Wi-Fi access to the internet for its customers. The customer is prompted with a web page that requires the customer to agree to abide by use policies while connected. That is a captive portal. Network admin needs to ensure network availability by sending status diagnostics and event information from network nodes to a centralized server. Which technology should the admin use? A syslog. A network support team needs to determine whether data is being encrypted when it is sent over the network. Packet analysis. Headquarters requests new IP subnet. The solution must meet the following requirements. 10.10.10, 128.27. Users report that they have lost access to a network shared drive. They open a new help ticket and expect quick resolution to the problem. They should gather more information from the users. What is the role of an MIB when implementing simple network management protocol for network management? A collection of manageable device definitions. A company routes Cat5e to be cabling to part of its manufacturing floor. Interference. Reliable and cost effective. They should swap to shielded twist repair, which is less susceptible to interference. A company has its own comms room and an on-premises data center containing all its servers and network devices. A network engineer wants to add some cloud on-demand solutions to the existing infrastructure. Which cloud model should the company use? Hybrid? Oh my gosh. No. No. A collection of connected LANs over a large geographic area. I think that's all. That is a wide area network. Interconnection of devices near each other, such as in offices organized around an individual, and often use Bluetooth connections. That would be a PAN, a personal area network. Connected LANs over a relatively small geographic area, such as connecting all of the company's buildings to the same location. Acronyms, man. If I could remember the acronyms, I would probably get this. Fuck, I don't know, man. I don't know. So, the answer was CAN and SAN. CAN and SAN. Campus Area Network is a group of connected LANs, and SAN is a storage area network. Alright. Campus Area Network, Storage Area Network. A company is developing its business continuity and disaster recovery plans. The company needs to determine the reliability of a critical network device. Continuity plans will depend on how frequent the device is likely to fail. So continuity plans will depend on how frequent the device is likely to fail. Mean time between failure. MTBF, mean time between failure. Which layer of the OSI model are web browsers and email clients implemented at layer 7? The application. During a DDoS attack, a tech is unable to access a critical server. What should the tech do to prevent this issue in the future? Implement out-of-band management. A network engineer has installed 3 gigabit switches. The switches will provide access to NAS devices for end users. What should the engineer configure to avoid a bottleneck in the network with big file transfers? And with big file transfers. Maybe with SSJ. Oh, it was trunks with port aggregation. I think I got that one right earlier, but I got it wrong now. Damn it. Company has 2 access points as shown in exhibit. Users report intermittent access issues. 50% overlap. Shouldn't I change it to 5 gigahertz? Yeah. Oh, it was. I had to choose 2, so I got that one halfway right. I don't know what to do about that one. Okay. Against which type of attack is end user training most effective? Phishing. Which of the following is used to create point-to multi-point tunnels by encapsulating layer 2 traffic for transmission over a layer 3 underlay network? A VXLAN? Most of a company's network admins are Windows operating system specialists. The company is cross-training admins to help perform periodic management and administration tasks on Linux-based servers. This includes a mix of command line and graphic utilities. Some of the admins being trained are in remote offices. All trainers are in the company's main office. The admins being trained log on and work locally from a Linux server. The trainer will connect to the Linux server from a client computer. Both computers need to display the same screen and allow commands and utilities to be used from either computer. Which remote connection technology should the trainers use? A VNC. Which two are benefits of mesh connected distribution routers? Nick teaming and load balancing. Load balancing and multipathing. Okay. Compared to characteristics of NAS and SAN. Emulates directly attached storage for server access storage. That would be a NAS, right? Maintains its own file system, data access through the remote file system by phone. NAS. Structure as dedicated network consisting of multiple storage devices. SAN. Preferred solution when extreme high speed data transfer is required. SAN. Oh. So the damn, that sucks. The company has dynamic DHCP server with all the subnet addresses specified as an IP address scope. Company deploys new physical server. Use that as server. Require the server to always have the same IP address. I should use a virtual IP. Oh, I should have read the answers. I knew it was a reservation. Chat. A network administrator. I got too cocky on that one. A network administrator prepares to install an outdoor WAP. EIRP is lower, and the install requires. They should. Decrease the WAP transmit power. Replace the cables. A network tech wants to deploy a new virtual firewall. The firewall has to support 3 VNIC. Okay, did we pass this time? Oh, are you kidding me? I was 1% off, bro. Come on, man. Okay, I think I have time for one more run. It's gotta be like super fast though. We gotta get in there and move. User complaints about transfer rates from a server in VLAN 4. So for this one, it was duplex, right? A company runs call center service, 25 agents. Agents report that there's random quality issues, which performance parameter should be verified in the network. A maximum 150 milliseconds of delay. Refer to the exhibit. Which device allows node D to communicate with node E? Node D to node E, that's a switch. To enhance performance and security, an organization defines VLANs on L2 switches. Switches will not host the same VLANs, but traffic for all VLANs must flow between switches. Which solution best meets this require? Configure tagging. The marketing team uses software as a service to store raw. Or wait, is it software as a service or storage as a service? I don't know what it is. The team reports slow access to some resources on the SaaS platform. Check the bandwidth? Users report that messages about duplicate IP addresses being displayed on their computer. They should suspect a rogue DHCP server. A network administrator is configuring simple network manager protocol and needs to specify an element for monitoring. What should the admin enter? This crazy number. An organization upgrades network cabling in some of its buildings from copper to fiber. Increased number of CRC errors. What is the most cost-effective standard that supports 10 gigabits per second transfer up to a distance of 300 meters? Oh gosh, that is fuck. 10 gigabit base. Is it short range? Yes. Perfect. An on-site inspection finds that one fiber optic cable exceeds the band radius that is recommended by the manufacturer, which should be the main concern for this company. It should be attenuation. A network admin would change the ID on a switch's native VLAN to mitigate what type of attack. That would be VLAN hopping. The company wants to configure a site-to-site VPN link between two offices. Users in each office should have access to resources in the other office, including shared folders as network services. What type of VLAN should the company use? That would be SSL VPN? Oh, it was IPsec. Which type of kit? Wait, let me go back and read that question again. Company wants to configure a site-to-site VLAN between offices. Users in each office should have access to resources. Services. Okay. That is single mode. The company expands its corporate campus and builds new facilities for its warehouse and additional offices. The company needs to run a high bandwidth link between the buildings. Okay, so that's long range, so that'd be single mode fiber. What type of physical security device lets company locate devices that have been moved to a new location? Asset tracking tags. The company wants to connect devices so that there are many redundant interconnections. They should use a mesh topology. A network admin must configure a wireless controller to allow authentication for devices that do not support EAP. Once configured, client authentication must be automatic. However, unauthorized users should not be able to access network resources. ES key authentication on the controller. Network admin wants to secure a server, which is the best tool for determining which servers or applications are responding to network requests. I believe that is dig. Let's port scan. Users connect to a network using wireless laptops. They should install more access points. A tech attempts to install a device requires power over Ethernet. Oh yeah, this one's type 4 PoE++. Which two attack types are examples of social engineering, tailgating, phishing? This was a netstat, wasn't it? Oh no, this was the dig. Ah. A company has deployed a new access point. Networkman wants to proactively monitor the number of connected clients and available resources using secure protocol. What layer 7 network protocol should be used? SNMP. The host shown in the exhibit is unable to communicate with other network hosts. This is a recent problem. Each subnet has a subnet mask of 255 blah blah. Technical team needs to determine whether the TCP IP protocol stack loaded and whether the computer's NIC is working. What command should they run? So they're trying. They should ping 5-2. Okay, 127.0.0.1. It's the okay, well, I don't understand that one. Part of the company's network is shown in the exhibit. Okay. I think the DNS server is failing. No, port 53 was blocked. Okay. Network devices in one area of the office building experience communication problems. The cable tester shows that the signal on the RX pair is lower than expected. This is a latency problem. Attenuation. Oh, RX pair. So they're using fiber. Large organization has offices in several locations around the world. They should use SOP. What should a company use as an authentic? That was... That's Radius, right? Yeah. AAA Radius. Which of the following is a limitation of a V-switch technology? CPU and flood guard. At which point in troubleshooting methodology is it appropriate to escalate the problem? Can't confirm. No appropriate solution found. Company's network is shown in the exhibit. The DHCP server is configured with scope for each. Wait, is this the one where? Wait, no, this is a totally different question. I think they're gonna do DHCP relay agents. Oh man, okay. Load balance. VPN concentrator. And proxy server, right? No, I got the top one wrong. Wireless controller. Oh yeah. Oh, I was close on that one. Should be secure FTP. Network admin plans to deploy a wireless network. What should they use to provide the strongest encryption for wireless communication? That should be WPA2 Enterprise. Recent security audit reveals that users from all locations have full remote access to network devices. That should be access control list. An office is configured with APs shown in exhibit. The office's wizard is configured with AP1 only, but the users furthest from the AP had problems connecting. There were also intermittent problems with bandwidth saturation. After installing APT, users near the center of the office have trouble connecting and communicating and are experiencing latency problems. What should technicians do to correct the problem? Oh, they should change AP2 to channel 6. A consultant is helping set up office in a remote rural area. The office needs high bandwidth. That would be satellite. Company wants to create site-to-site VPN. Maximum security is required. Which set of protocol should the company use? It should be AES for encryption and SHA-512 for hashing. Which layer of the OSI model are web browsers and email clients on? Is layer 7. The company has deployed a new Microsoft Windows server behind a firewall. A system admin has been experiencing problems querying and modifying items in an Active Directory from a remote location using an LDAP-based application. Which protocol should be allowed through the firewall? UDP port 53? Oh, TCP port 636. Users complain about intermittent connection issues with file server. Together, all the information determined that no changes have been made to the network. What should the tech do next? They should establish a plan of action. Oh, they should consult the OSM model. Damn it. This one has a lot of different questions that I hadn't gotten yet, so an ISP has suffered several unscheduled outages every day. They are violating the SLA. Company wants to connect a remote office using satellite internet service. What should be the main concern for this deployment? That should be availability of service. Or was it latency? Yeah, it was latency. Dang it. It's too late once you click that submit. Define which statement describes exploits and vulnerabilities. An application has an open maintenance hook that provides access to configuration settings. That is a vulnerability. Database of servers operating system is missing several security patches. Vulnerability. Deceptive calls are being used to gather critical information about network servers. That's an exploit. User login accounts have administrator rights to client computers. Vulnerability. The data breach exposes personal information about customers. That's an exploit. Which type of vulnerability would not be reported by the vulnerability scan? 0-day. Network tech troubleshoots connectivity to a server. The tech needs to determine if a connection from a client is active as well as port being used for connection. What tools should they use? Netstat? Geofencing. The company collects network traffic data from multiple subnets. Detailed analysis indicates that packets are being dropped by one of the routers. Technicians suspect this is due to the misconfigured firewall ACLs. Where should technicians look for more detailed information? The firewall logs. What is the first step when troubleshooting a network problem? Identify the problem. Company contracts with cloud provider. The cloud provider is responsible for virtualized hardware, storage, and network support. The company is responsible for installing, licensing, and maintaining the operating system and server applications. Which type of service does this describe? A platform as a service. No, that's infrastructure. A policy includes the following statement. Employees are not allowed to use company equipment to copy or distribute copyright material without the written permission of the holder of the copyright. That is a acceptable use policy? What is the role of an MIB when implementing a simple network management protocol for network management? It's a collection of manageable device definitions. Which two are benefits of mesh connected distributed routers? Multipathing and load balancing, right? Yeah, there we go. The company deploys a new computer. When the cables of the computer is plugged in at the switch, the network link LED does not light. When the cable is plugged into a different open port, the LED lights up. And plug back into the original port, the LED does not light. What is the most likely problem? The bad port. A network tech is concerned about the risk of tailgating in their environment. What should the tech do to mitigate this risk? They should implement a access control vestibule. Which mechanism is used by TCP to set up and synchronize a new TCP IP connection? That should be a three-way handshake. A company deploys 60 computers that are configured for automatic address assignment. DHCP scope is exhausted. Configure a port mirror. One of the company office areas is shown in exhibit. Shaded area shows where devices cannot provide reliable connection to the access point. Okay, we know that's there. Users complain that they walk from one location to another in an office complex. They lose wireless connectivity. What should a network administrator do to troubleshoot this issue? Detect overlapping wireless cells? Which two items would be specified as part of an SLA? Help desk response time and availability and uptime. The company wants to deploy a new WLAN topology without running new electrical wiring. The solution has to support 5 GHz band, multi-user, multi-input, multi-output, and offer speeds of at least 2100 megabits per second. The company wants to use UAE solution for at least 25 watts of power for a connected device. Which two components should be used? That was Wave 2 standard, and I forgot the other one. Is it switch supporting 8023 AT? Yeah, there we go. An organization plans to contract with a cloud service provider for a disaster recovery site that will help post back up critical system hardware. When the primary data center fails, data will be restored and the secondary site will be activated. Costs must be minimized. That's a warm site. A network admin connects finance and marketing PCs to the same L2 switch. Marketing PCs do not communicate with the finance PCs. What is the best solution? Screened subnet. Oh, yeah, I missed this one earlier. Here, what is the primary benefits of using power distribution units in a data center? Remote switching. Which device should a company use to configure a new area with an OSPF? A router? Yeah. The company routes Cat5 USB cabling to the part of its manufacturing floor that generates a great deal of interference. Cables are routed loosely through the ceiling. Is this the one? What is it? It's shielded to a pair. The network support team needs to determine whether data is being encrypted, so they want to do packet analysis. And they want to use jumble frames, so it's MTU to 9000. Which mechanism monitors and manages virtual machine instances? The hypervisor. Following a disaster, a network admin is attempting to prioritize system restores. What should the admin do first? Following a disaster, a network admin attempts to prioritize system restores. And check the RTO. Recovery time objective. The company is developing its business continuity and disaster recovery plan. Needs to determine the reliability of a critical network device. The frequent the device is likely to fail. Meantime, between failure. The company has offices in several floors of the building. All connections to external public lines come in through central area and are routed to distribution points on each floor. The distribution points on each floor connect to the internal network. Where is the cabling and equipment for the central area documented in detail? That would mean the MDF main distribution frame documentation. Oh, come on. How are you going to throw this one to me? Oh, come on. A collection of connected LANs over a large geographic wide area network. Interconnection of devices near each other. That's the PAN. Connected LANs over a relatively small geographic area, such as connected all these buildings. Same location. Campus area network. A high-speed data network giving several LAN servers access to consolidated portable storage. Isn't this one? This one was SAN, right? Yes! Oh wow, I actually got that one. Alright, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Come on, come on, come on, come on. We did it! Oh my gosh, we actually passed it. Plus 5%. Yes! Yeah! We did it, boys. Alright, y'all. Well, I've got to go. My exam is in like 15 minutes, so if anyone's still out there, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me while I study. Hope you had a good time, but I'll be seeing you back later on. See you guys.